Hello, my name is David Piesse. I'm the advisor for insurance for Guardtime, the company producing KSI, Keyless Signature Infrastructure Standard for data integrity protection. Today I'm going to discuss the impact of KSI on the insurance industry. When we look at the insurance industry over the past 3 years, we've been looking at the emerging risks that have been affecting the industry and how we can mitigate and protect against those risks. Those risks are familiar to most people. They are climate change, they are pandemic, they are cyber liability, the effect of cyber attacks on corporations and on consumers. What today we're going to discuss is the cyber liability emerging risk and how that impacts our lives. First of all, what is happening in the world? In the United States, mandatory laws are being passed on cyber to say that if you have a data breach in your organization, you must notify the government within a certain amount of days, otherwise you'll be fined 10% of your gross annual sales. This has a big impact on solvency and reputation. What are the drivers for these data breaches happening? They are the move to the cloud, they are mobile technology, machine-to-machine interaction, and of course other forms of technology breaches, such as bringing your own devices to your office and not being part of the corporate best practice security. All of these drivers are forcing people now to take mitigation measures in the United States, followed by Europe, where the EU directive is now to look at passing similar mandatory laws across Europe, and in the remaining world to have data protection laws passed, which will move to mandatory laws in time, which will have a big impact on how the emerging nations also protect their data, especially across borders. And cross-border data is very serious. When you have a data breach in one country which originated in another, this leads to quite serious court cases, implementations of fines and regulations against different corporations in different countries, which can lead to a serious reserving of legal costs. So let us look at how this starts and how it will work. When there is a data breach, it means that somebody has entered your corporation's data, has stolen it or tampered it, and you do not know it's happened. When you have this happen, you need to find a way of notifying the right parties that this has occurred. The way that we're looking at this is to use the KSI standard, which is by Guardtime, which will actually put on each piece of data a fingerprint that uniquely identifies that piece of data and can tell us if it has been tampered with or changed. This is different to the security where you build a fence around the data and look for the penetration of the fence. This is following the data for its whole lifetime, so that we can always know if that data is been tampered with at any time from its birth to its resting place at the end of the cycle of insurance, which can, in terms of life insurance, take 100 years. New solvency measures are saying that we must be able to retrieve data for use in court at any time, any place, so that we can actually verify and make it tamper-free evident in court. All of these situations are made possible by the use of KSI. So let's look at what is required now to actually look at the forensics of this. And the insurance company will call in a data breach team which will come into the organization and will look at the data cycle from the start to finish. How was the data breached? How can we remedy it? How can we notify the customers? And how can we stop litigation costs occurring in our organization? That cycle we can prevent with KSI. So we are looking at using KSI before that cycle occurs so that we can risk and mitigate. Then we can put this into our policies, our insurance policies, before we sell these policies. So when the insurance broker goes to see large corporations such as pharmaceuticals, electricity companies, any kind of energy companies, we can tell those companies that they have to do a risk assessment analysis, and KSI has to be included in that risk assessment. When we bring that risk assessment back to the customer, we will tell them they have to have the KSI implemented in their organization for them to get insurance or discount in that insurance. That is then taken to integrators that will actually implement KSI enterprise-wide risk management into that corporation. Not just a piece of email, not just a piece of data, a database, but the whole enterprise. In that case, we can then warranty and mitigate that we have a security plan that will serve that corporation well in the event of a cyber attack. So that is the first item we're looking at, is cyber liability protection for the insurance industry to serve the corporations. Right now, those corporations have not been buying insurance for this subject in a very large way. The insurance companies have only sold $1 billion worth of premium, small in terms of the insurance industry, because the products have not been innovative enough for the risk buyers, the risk managers who work for these large corporations, whose responsibility is to purchase insurance and put in risk factors. The IT department is not the solution to this. It's all the stakeholders of these large corporations. The risk managers want innovation. When they see they have this kind of enterprise risk management warranty, as given by KSI, they will purchase full exposure cover instead of just entry cover, like protection against a few viruses, operational risk. They will do the whole risk cover, which will increase the premiums of the insurance industry and make the corporate world a lot safer in terms of cyber attack. The second item we look at is big data. Big data is being talked about all over the press, all over the media. You will see big data. So what is big data? Big data is related to the cloud. The cloud has repositories of big data everywhere. This is generated from the social media sites that we use every day. It's generated from corporate transactions, from enterprise data, for sensors coming from devices, smart devices, any kind of smart device, mobile phone, fridges have smart devices now, baby monitoring devices, multiple sensors generating data. All this data, in conjunction with public data, becomes available to the insurance industry and corporations for use. The insurance industry particularly is looking at how they can change their way of using this kind of big data in order that they can innovate against the social networks to avoid being commoditized and to innovate again in their industry. For this, they need to verify that their data is correct. This data coming from social media needs to be cleaned, it needs to be accurately taken and scored so that it is valid data when it gets combined with customer data, risk data, and financial data that also exists in the enterprise. The aggregation of this big data will lead to proper reports of solvency, reports of customer satisfaction. Right away across, we integrate this data, and we can see that the board level is now doing management by analytics and not the way that they've been conducting business in the past. So the insurance industry is the risk industry. It is not, it is not a social media site. The risk knowledge and the process of this big data, protected by KSI, large volumes of data, the size going from the size of a baseball to the size of the sun, being protected, will give us the veracity that we need in order to improve our ways of reporting and produce tamper-free evidence should it be necessary to produce that data in court. The combination of big data and the combination of cyber liability mean that we have the protection of our data and the protection of that data being breached. The two together provide a very important risk mitigator barrier for the future as we move into the machine-to-machine world, the Internet of everything, where everything's connected on the Internet, and that means the vulnerability of everything as the converse of that. So we will address the vulnerability of everything here and make for a better future for for the insurance industry, all our customers, and also for the regulators, that will allow us to do more mainstream work in the cloud that we haven't been able to do in the past. So with the combination of things, I look forward to the follow-up from all this in the next article. Thank you very much.